So hello guys, round 5. Gohil is playing white against Moses Lukoko, and oh my goodness, I mean, whatever happened in this game, I don't think Lukoko wants to ever speak about it again. And I think, in my opinion, this is one of Gohil's best attacking games ever. I mean, ever. I've seen a lot of Gohil's games, but I've never seen him attack like he did in this game. So not even much to say about this game. Let's just dive straight into it and see what happens. So Gohil plays pawn to d4. Lukoko plays knight to f6, thinking, let's just play a normal game, probably an Imzo Indian against a queen's gambit. Normal stuff. But Gohil plays bishop to g5, and immediately you get the sense of feeling that Gohil is not here to mess around. He's just here to attack. It's round 5. He needs to make a statement. And in his mind, Gohil sort of knew that if he won this game, because against the penultimate round, so he knew that if he won this game, he actually virtually has nobody else who will challenge him. Because I'm thinking Moses Lukoko, again Chahindi, and Njuki were probably the top 3 players who I think would have challenged Gohil in this tournament, along with Austin Walela, but Walela wasn't playing really well. So again, with that in mind, Gohil just goes straight for the neck. I mean, he wasn't messing around in this game. So pawn to e6 by Lukoko, and after this game, I asked Lukoko, he played pawn to e6. Here you could just play anything. You could just play pawn to d5, stop e4 from happening. Play the normal Tromposky stuff. If he takes on f6, you can take back with the g-pawn, get the g-file open for your rook. Have an attacking game, have a double-edged, exciting attacking game. So he told me that he played pawn to e6 because he wanted to play the Nimzo Indian against the Queen's Gambit. But again, this isn't a Queen's Gambit. There's a bishop on g5. You know what I mean? So pawn to e4 by Gohil. Bishop to e7. Pawn to e5. Knight to d5. Bishop takes on e7. Queen takes on e7. Pawn to c4. Knight to g4. Knight to f4, I mean. Queen to d2. And now knight to g6. And believe it or not, White has a clear advantage here. White is... I don't even know how to speak of this advantage, of how big the advantage is. Because again, you look at it, you think, it's trivial, it's just small advantage. I mean, if you put it on the engine maybe gives you +1. And you think, +1 is not that big. But then you look at the position. You see that White has an incredible center. White is going to develop all these pieces with ease. The bishop is going to develop on d3 with a very powerful diagonal. This knight is going to come to f3. He's going to play something like pawn to h4, pawn to h5, and you're going to be stuck with where you're going to place this knight. Okay, that's 1. 2, you look at the pieces on the black side. This bishop on c8 doesn't really have anything in this position. Unless you play something like pawn to b6, then develop your bishop on this diagonal. Sorry, wrong arrow. Yeah, maybe that's an idea. The knight going maybe to c6. Maybe try and play something like pawn to d6 and chip away at this center. But it's not easy. It's not a trivial idea here for black. So if you castle, again you face pawn to h4, pawn to h5. After maybe knight to f3, I mean. Pawn to h4, pawn to h5. It's a very uncomfortable position for black. And again, when you're trying to calculate, or when you're trying to prepare and look for advantages in your game, you don't really want to prepare and get advantages of +3, +2, +9. What you want to do is get a playable position, a position that's uncomfortable for your opponent and very comfortable, and the moves are very easy for you. Because we're human, we're not computers. People are going to make mistakes, and when they make the only way they make mistakes, Andiwo says, is when you ask questions. Okay, Andiwo says uliza swali, ask questions. The more the questions you ask, the harder it is for them to respond. So we've already done the evaluation and the analysis of this position, so let's just go straight ahead and see what actually happened in the game. So knight to c3 was played, and now pawn to c5. Lukoko wants to strike in the center. He wants to create some sort of a chaos, and he wants to develop the knight on c6 with a lot of pressure in the center. But here Gohil just plays knight to b5, and you begin seeing why this position is slowly crumbling for black. That is knight to c7 with check, winning the rook. Very obvious. If you castle, you still go knight to c7, and we win the rook still. So here, what was done was knight to a6 was played by black, but again, knight to d6 with check. The king has to go to f8, and you can see that all these pieces, none of these black pieces are on comfortable squares. The rook is trapped on h8. This knight on g6 doesn't really have comfortable squares to jump to. The knight on a6 has been pushed away from the center. The bishop on c8 is dead. The rook in the other corner is just completely cut off from the game. It's never going to get actually that rook is going, this game is going to end without that rook ever getting into this game. So let's see how Gohil actually attacked and did what he actually did in this position. He played pawn to f4. Pawn to f6 was played by Moses Lukoko, trying to again chip away at the center. Bishop to d3, attacking the knight on g6, so you can never really move the h pawn. And now f takes on e5. D takes on e5 was played. And now queen to h4 with check. Again, I don't know why he played this move. He probably thought that he could maybe try and attack the pawn on f4 with the queen. Again, this is a double attack. The queen is attacking the king, at the same time attacking the pawn on f4. But then Gohil just replied with pawn to g3, and you have to move your queen back. He moved all the way back to d8, and now knight to f3. Just continuing development. Knight to b4 was played. Don't understand, maybe attacking the bishop on d3, but the bishop was just played bishop to e4 here by Gohil. Bishop to e4, multi-purpose move, moving away from the attack of this knight. Again, you're the one attacking, so you don't want to exchange your attacking pieces. You want to keep all your pieces on the board because you want to continue the attack. Again, it keeps an eye on the b7 square. It can never really move because then the rook hangs in the corner. This knight on d6 is looking very pretty. The knight on f3 is developed, looking nice. And again, look at black's pieces. All of them are on the back rank except these two knights, and these two knights have no squares. So after bishop to e4, rook to b8 was played, moving away from the corner. And now knight to g5, creating some very nasty ideas. Here you can play something like knight to b5, then sacrifice your knight on e6, and after they take back, you can just take with your queen and win the other queen. I mean, very sinister ideas here by Gohil with knight to g5. So queen to c7 was played, just moving away from anything, any tactics whatsoever in this position. And now Gohil can even castle. I mean, castles. You can see how crazy this position is. He castles and he passes the baton back to black and tells black, you find a way out of this position. Okay. King to e7 was played. And now rook a to e1. Again, Gohil just telling black, you know, it's sort of those positions where you can just play anything and wait for your opponent to blunder. Okay. You can just keep playing those waiting moves and just allow your opponent to blunder the position themselves. So rook a to e1 was played by white, by Gohil. And now knight to b6, and these are the blunders we were talking about. So I'm guessing the idea with knight to b6 is Lukoko wanted to stick this knight on d4. And if he had that free move of playing knight to d4, I think he can hold the position somehow. Again, okay, I'm not saying it's a holdable position, but then you cut off this queen from the attack. Your knight sits good on d4. At least you have a piece that looks nice somewhere on the board. But what he missed was this idea with knight to b5, which was immediately played by Gohil. And the idea is it pushes this queen away from the defense of the d6 square. The queen has to go somewhere, and queen to d6 is going to be really painful because, again, the rook on b8 is only defended by this knight, and this bishop attacks the knight. So we can just capture the knight, then capture the rook on b8, continue the game. Again, there's so many other ideas. That's just the least you can come out of within this position. So knight to b5 was played, queen to b6 was played by Moses Lukoko, and now queen to d6 with check. King to d8 was played, and I'd ask you to pause this position and try and find the ideas, but there's so many good ideas in this position. You can literally play anything and win it. But here Gohil goes for the most exciting one. Knight takes on e6 with check, and the king has to move. King goes to e8, and now knight to c7 with check, and it was in this position that Moses Lukoko resigned the game. Proper game, really nice. I like the attack, I like everything that Gohil did here. And again, here position is completely winning, unless you sacrifice your queen. If you don't want to sacrifice your queen, play something like maybe king to f7. You can get knight to g5 with check. If you go back to, where can you even really go? You have to go somewhere like maybe king to g8. I don't see any other move because all these squares are again taken by the queen, and this knight on c7, and also this knight on g5. So you have to go maybe king to g8, and again now bishop to d5 becomes checkmate. So in this position, after knight takes knight to c7 with check, Lukoko realized that the only move to save himself is maybe sacrifice the queen. But here even knight takes on c7 with check is playable. Queen to d8, you can even come back with check, king to e8. You can play anything else. You can play knight takes on g7 with check. So many moves here playable. Again, even bishop takes on g6 with check. I mean, the position is just, you could give this position to anyone and they are converting it. So proper game by Gohil. Crushed Lukoko in the craziest way possible. I mean, this game requires to be in like the tournament magazine or something. Proper attacking game by Gohil. Loved everything about it. And now Gohil is on, this is round 5, so he's on 4.5 points. Only having conceded a point to Gabriel Njoki in the previous round. So amazing stuff. A great Tromposki attack game. This is how to play the Tromposki attack, I think. Amazing stuff. This game should be shared to as many people as you think, because these are the type of games that bring you to chess. You watch such a game and you just feel like playing chess right now. So yeah, this is his game against Moses Lukoko. One more round to go, and I'm guessing there are not many other players that can really challenge him. So in this position, I think Gohil, is on his way to winning the tournament. One more game, and we're going to look at that game next. So don't forget to subscribe, keep the notification bell on so that you get notified every time that we post. Have an amazing week and enjoy the Olympics.